So imagine being in the restaurant and gospel music singer Leandria Johnson is screaming at you, drunk and screaming.
A Grammy award-winning gospel singer was arrested in Greenville on a charge of public intoxication. Greenville police say Leandria Johnson was charged with public intoxication and having an open container on a public street yesterday.
We find ourselves once again holding our collective breath as the saga of Leandria Johnson takes another heart-thumping turn, another arrest, another public implosion, and another round of headlines that no amount of gospel gold can drown out. For those who thought the Sunday Best winner had finally put her infamous wild days behind her, the news out of Greenville, South Carolina, felt like a punch to the gut. Leandria, that mighty voice from Florida church pews who once soared above her troubles, has instead plunged into another shocking spiral. This time, in full view of everyone at Bricktop's restaurant. If you can imagine the scene, diners minding their own business, only to be served a side of chaos as the Grammy winner herself launches into a screaming match, lashing out at customers and hurling profanities on the sidewalk. No stage, no backup singers, just raw, unfiltered humiliation for a star who once promised better days.
They give the narrative of what actually happened. Like it started off at a restaurant/bar and it ended in the street.
Police were summoned and there was Leandria, reportedly trying to palm off her suspicious styrofoam cup to a companion, like an amateur magician in the world's least convincing sleight of hand. The aroma of something strong clung to the air. Her speech was more slurred than Sunday sermon, her balance shaky. Officers found her not just rattled, but unmistakably under the influence. It was broad daylight. By the time they led her away, cameras rolled, witnesses gawked, and any hope of quietly escaping this episode had been left on the sticky floors of Bricktops. Another headline, another mugshot, and a fresh round of debate. How many times can the same star fall before the world stops rooting for her to get back up? Let's not pretend this was some harmless hiccup. Johnson was booked and processed, facing charges for open container and public disturbance. The press, the fans, the congregation, everyone got to watch the scene play out, blow by humiliating blow. This was not the first time, and let's be honest, nobody in the gospel world was shocked. We remember her arrest in Virginia just weeks earlier. Same charge, same sad routine, different zip code. We remember the viral mugshots, the public apologies, the rallying cries of "keep me lifted," and the now familiar promise that she's yet still growing. The numbers don't lie. With over 1.5 million followers on FB, hundreds of thousands on Instagram, and more than 9 million streams for her signature song, Leandria Johnson isn't just another fallen star, she's a walking redemption arc that keeps slipping on the same banana peel.
Hey everyone, to all of my family, my friends, and my supporters, thank you so much for your continued prayers and love. I do see all of the text messages and all of the phone calls.
It's the heartbreak of a comeback story collapsing in real time that hits the hardest. After years of tearful confessions on Eon La Fix My Life, after a celebrated stint in rehab and a sober victory lap with the faith community cheering her on, what brought her back to this point? Not long ago, she was celebrating 9 months of sobriety, sharing her gratitude to her family, spiritual mentors, and supporters who made it possible for me to pat myself on the back. She stood before congregations and cameras, admitting, "This journey hasn't been easy." But for a brief, shining window, it looked like the worst was behind her. Now, with every new charge, every blurry-eyed video, the hope for real transformation seems to dim. Just a little more. But the rumors swirling around this latest meltdown suggest there's more to this mess than just a single bad night. The phrase on everyone's lips right now? Secret rehab escape. Sources close to Johnson claim she may have slipped out of a treatment facility just weeks before the incident in Greenville, a desperate bid for freedom. Or maybe a panicked flight from the hard work of real healing. No confirmation yet from her label or management, of course, but the chatter among insiders is impossible to ignore. A former road manager hints that Johnson felt suffocated by unrealistic demands from her handlers. Pressure to get back on stage, to keep up appearances, to show the world she was healed, whether she was ready or not. The logic, if you can call it that, goes something like, why let the audience down with canceled dates and postponed projects when you can just fake it until you break?
Taking this time now to just really just woosah. And if y'all know me like you know me, you know that this is a daily walk, and this has been a daily walk for me for some time now. And I'm yet still growing.
We can only speculate about the full truth, but the timeline is messy enough to raise eyebrows. Johnson's official statement on YouTube, where she thanked her family, friends, and supporters for their prayers, doubled as a coded plea for privacy and maybe for mercy. "This is a daily walk, and this has been a daily walk for me for some time now, and I'm yet still growing," she said, her voice soft but weary. Even the church community, usually quick to forgive, seems torn between compassion and tough love. One industry veteran was blunt: "At some point, we have to stop blaming the struggle and start looking at the choices. The sympathy is running thin." And while fans grieve for the gospel queen they thought they knew, some are quietly asking if there's another force behind the curtain, an elephant in the room that's rarely discussed on Sunday mornings. Could the answer be as simple and as devastating as financial ruin? Rumors of hidden debt and mounting bills have haunted Johnson's entourage for months now. Industry tipsters point to cracks in the facade that have only widened with every canceled show and every viral controversy. Whispers of serious money trouble and old tax issues swirl in private groups and backroom meetings. A promoter who worked with Johnson on a canceled tour leg claims she's a life falling apart behind closed doors. Bills unpaid, management scrambling, desperate attempts to paper over the gap.
So technically, all I knew is mommy and daddy being married, granny and papa being married, people around me seeing them last, but I didn't know nothing about that stuff. And then, my daddy didn't want me to get married to him anyway, so all that, it was just all wrong. The second time, and that wasn't good either.
It's no secret that fame doesn't come with a guaranteed bank account, especially when legal bills, court fines, and rehab costs keep piling up. If the money's drying up and the pressure to perform never lets up, the spiral we're watching might not be about substance alone. It could be about the gnawing panic of losing everything. That mansion in Covington, the glittering career, the social media millions. It all looks so solid from the outside, until the repo men and lawyers start circling. No official statement from her reps, naturally, but the silence speaks volumes. So as the mugshots multiply and her public apologies grow more familiar, the story of Leandria Johnson keeps getting darker, heavier, and more complicated. Fans who once saw her as the living proof that God can use anybody are now left to wonder, is this a wounded soul battling unseen forces, or a superstar who simply can't let go of the chaos that made her famous? The heartbreak isn't just personal anymore, it's professional. We're not just watching a woman unravel. We might be witnessing the collapse of a brand, a ministry, and a reputation built on both talent and vulnerability.
20 years old when I first got married. Still a baby. I just got my ears pierced. What are you talking about? Still a baby. But yes, that didn't work out. What did I learn from my first marriage? To be honest, not to do it again.
Every new report, whether from police records, eyewitnesses at bricktops, or tipsters with an axe to grind, feels like another nail in the coffin of her carefully crafted comeback. And yet, the curiosity lingers. Could the truth be even messier than what we've seen? Did Johnson truly walk out on the only help that could save her? Or was she pushed by a system that only loves winners? And what about those mounting whispers of money trouble? Are they just the usual tabloid static? Or is there a real storm brewing on the horizon? The world is watching, waiting, and holding its breath as the story of Leandria Johnson careens from one heartbreak to the next. For now, all eyes remain fixed on a gospel legend teetering on the edge, caught between hope and disaster, faith and scandal, with the spotlight brighter and the shadows deeper than ever before. And there's no denying it. Leandria Johnson's timeline of public meltdowns reads like a case study in self-destruction. We don't even have to dig deep to see the pattern. Her disasters have always unfolded right where the spotlight shines brightest. It's impossible to forget her infamous 2018 tirade, when, fueled by resentment and maybe something a little stronger, she took to social media to tear the church apart. She didn't just call out hypocrisy, she detonated it, dropping language that left even her most loyal fans clutching their pearls. "The church is the only place you can go and get robbed, and nobody calls the police," she fired off, targeting leaders by name and swinging at the very community that made her a star. That outburst wasn't just a personal catharsis, it torched bridges. She was pulled from high-profile tributes, bookings vanished, and church elders lined up to rebuke her, both online and from the pulpit. Even as she issued a limp apology, "To all of my fans who are out there who do go to church, me saying F-bomb the church, I meant to address the politics of the church, the damage was done." Suddenly, every move she made was suspect. The fallout echoed for months, fusing her public image to chaos and controversy. But that wasn't a one-off. We've watched her stumble from that very public feud straight into a string of run-ins with the law, arrests for public intoxication, confrontations at restaurants, viral mugshots. The mugshots alone have become almost a rite of passage in the saga of Leandria Johnson. Eyes red-rimmed, stare defiant or dazed, another news cycle primed and ready. Each incident seems to follow the same tragic rhythm. She rises, almost claws her way back to the top, and then it all unravels again in a blaze of headlines and handcuffs. Even her attempts at honesty, her willingness to admit her struggles, start to ring hollow after the fourth or fifth apology video. The phrase, "I'm still growing," becomes a loop, and the crowd that once rooted for her starts to wonder if she's genuinely trapped. or simply unwilling to let go of her own worst habits. We can't talk about Leandria Johnson's downward spiral without confronting the single image that detonated across the internet. A mugshot so raw, so unguarded, it instantly eclipsed every album cover she's ever posed for. In a world obsessed with image, that booking photo didn't just record a low point. It rewrote the way people see her, maybe forever. It was plastered across timelines within minutes, dissected by influencers, meme accounts, and YouTube commentators. For a brief window, the story wasn't about her music or her faith. It was about the look in her eyes, the pain beneath the surface, and what it means when a gospel icon's most vulnerable moment becomes public property.
I was trying to let the people know, like, if you could wake up in the morning and know how you want your day to be, and that happens every day, that's gravy.
100%.
But you know yourself, I don't care what kind of God you serve, and I'm finna go there.
Let's go.
What followed was an avalanche of opinion, and it split her fan base down the middle. Some scrolled past the mugshot and saw a call for empathy, a woman battling visible pain, worn down by addiction, deserving of a second chance. They pointed to the stigma of public humiliation, arguing that no one should be defined by their worst day, especially not someone who's been open about their journey. But just as many seized the image as proof that she'd squandered every lifeline. Critics accused her of hypocrisy, of failing the people who once looked up to her. The mugshot became a Rorschach test. For some, evidence of a broken system, for others, a cautionary tale about the price of wasted talent. But beyond the drama and the debates, the real question lingers. How much power does a single image hold over a public figure's legacy? In an age where every scandal lives forever online, can Leandria Johnson ever outsing that viral photo? Or has her lowest moment become the permanent headline? The mugshot's reach is impossible to erase. It floats through social feeds and search engines, threatening to overshadow every comeback attempt she'll ever make. Yet there's a twisted hope in this cycle. If she can reclaim the narrative, flip the symbolism, maybe she'll find a way to let that infamous image serve not as a period, but as a turning point. Every time we think Leandria has hit bottom, she finds a new way to fall. The pattern is impossible to ignore. Public outburst, industry backlash, emotional apology, brief stretch of sobriety, and then another explosion. It's almost Shakespearean, except there are real-life contracts on the line, real fans disillusioned, and a career that can't seem to withstand the next blow. The timeline blurs into a highlight reel of pain. 2013's messy marriage and highly publicized split. 2018's church feud. The viral confessionals on Ayanla, Fix My Life. Arrests in both South Carolina and Virginia, and those cryptic statements about needing to woo-saw. If Leandria's life were a gospel record, we'd be stuck on the skip.
Do I regret certain decisions? I regret how I said it.
Okay.
But if I had to go through it again, probably say it the same way. I'm just...
This cycle, though, can't just be explained by personal demons. As the years and incidents stack up, a darker suspicion creeps in. Maybe Leandria Johnson is just one more casualty in an industry that loves its icons messy and then spits them out when they don't clean up fast enough. Behind the scenes, the gospel world is a pressure cooker. Endless touring, constant surveillance, and suffocating expectations to be the living embodiment of grace, even when life is falling apart. Industry insiders aren't shy about it. 3 veteran gospel managers admit, off the record, that there's no room for struggle in this business. You have to look perfect, sound perfect, live perfect. The minute you show a crack, the machine starts to eat you alive. Leandria herself, in quieter moments, has alluded to the impossible double standard. She's forced to belt out messages of redemption night after night while hiding her own hurt behind the curtain. If she cracks under the strain, the same community that cheered her on is first in line to cast stones.
Have you ever felt the pressure to have to live this perfect, upright life as a gospel singer to appease and please church people?
Never.
Never.
For artists like Leandria, the holiness hustle is a trap. The label wants her in the studio, the church wants her on the pulpit, and fans want a flawless role model. Any stumble becomes instant fodder for blogs and back-channel gossip. It's a system designed to break its own stars. The real tragedy isn't just that Johnson can't seem to escape her old vices, it's that she's expected to conquer them in total silence, with no room for weakness. That's a high-wire act even the most seasoned performer can't keep up forever. And what makes this all the more sinister is the mounting speculation that the industry's expectations are only one part of a much bigger mess. According to a former booking agent, Leandria's career was already teetering on the brink long before her recent arrests. Missed appearances, angry promoters, and late payments started piling up years ago. Insiders whisper that her personal finances have been an open secret in Nashville for ages. The headlines about luxury homes and million-dollar contracts are just a thin coat of paint over a house in danger of foreclosure. In the gospel business, as in life, nothing exposes the cracks in the foundation like a little rain. And for Leandria, it's been pouring for a long time. It's not just about the money, though. There's a cruel poetry to the way Leandria's failures have been weaponized. Every public slip, every broken promise gets magnified and repackaged by an industry addicted to both her talent and her dysfunction. When she lashes out, the cycle repeats. Fans rush to support, haters jump in with "I told you so," and management is left doing damage control while the machine rolls on. Even the moments meant to save her, the rehab stints, the spiritual interventions, the comeback tours, end up feeling like plot twists in a story that refuses to resolve.
Comes down to me being seen, then everybody got something to say. So at that moment, I'm just like, either whether I'm doing good or whether I'm doing bad, they're gonna have something to say. And trust me, this is just a first level of what I'm explaining is deeper than this.
We're left to wonder as the drama escalates if there's anyone in her orbit actually rooting for Leandria's healing, or if they're all just riding the scandal train until the last stop. Some say she's her own worst enemy. Others point to a gospel system that's set up to punish honesty and reward denial. We can see the strain in every performance, the fragility in every tearful "I'm sorry." If she can't find a way to break the cycle, it won't be long before the platform she built becomes the very thing that buries her. The combination of personal battles, hidden debts, and a toxic industry culture is volatile, and we're watching it combust in slow motion. As each new incident goes viral, the gospel world starts to whisper. Maybe Leandria Johnson isn't just spiraling. Maybe she's being pushed by the industry, by financial stress, by fans who want a miracle but secretly crave the spectacle. It's a question nobody wants to answer out loud. Is she a cautionary tale or a victim of a machine that eats its brightest stars? For every keep me lifted plea, there's another missed paycheck, another viral meltdown, another headline. The facade is cracking, and if something doesn't change, this isn't just the collapse of a career, it's the unraveling of a legacy.
It was just like an abrupt move, and I was like, damn, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And I had 3 kids at the time, one infant, and it was just like, okay, so what am I gonna do? I had to move in with my parents.
So here's the cliffhanger that no gospel song can resolve. Are we witnessing the tragic self-destruction of a once-in-a-generation talent, or the final desperate act of a star who was set up to fall from the very start? Is it addiction, sabotage, or something darker still? Let us know what you think. Could Leandria Johnson ever truly escape this storm, or has the gospel industry written her fate in ink? Drop your thoughts below, and until next time, keep your eyes open, your prayers up, and your popcorn ready. This story is far from over.